So there's a brand new twist in the tale of the Jack the Ripper mystery this week. The Daily Mail reports how an author has been refused permission to exhume the remains of Mary Jane Kelly, who he claims is his great-aunt. So the Mail article reports that Dr. Wynne Weston Davies, a retired surgeon, argues that Mary Jane Kelly was the street name used by his great-aunt, Elizabeth Weston Davies, while she was working as a prostitute. He claims Jack the Ripper was her husband, a journalist called Francis Spurzheim Craig, and her death was an act of revenge by Craig, 51, who killed the 4 other victims as cover for the crime. Dr. Weston Davies has claimed in his book, The Real Mary Kelly. Authorities at St Patrick's Catholic Cemetery in Leytonstone have actually refused his request to exhume the remains, and therefore he won't be able to prove the familial relationship, however. So a grave marker actually marks Mary Kelly as being buried in the cemetery, but the actual position of her body isn't known. So, and there are thought to be several bodies buried in a sort of small area there. So her grave marker is basically just to show that she's buried at the site. So I'm not sure how they would have found the right body to take a DNA test of in the first place, to be honest. Mary Jane Kelly is the 5th of the canonical Jack the Ripper victims, and she was brutally murdered on the 9th of November 1888, around 25 years old, at Miller's Court, Spitalfields, London, which is off the dangerous and highly impoverished Dorset Street. Her injuries were the most severe of all of the Ripper victims. It's probably right for me to declare that I have something of an interest in the case, having written several books on the matter and come to a different conclusion. My conclusion was that Walter Sickert was Jack the Ripper, and newspaper reports in the Daily Mail and the Sun and other news sources actually reported on the publication of my book a couple of years ago. That being said, it would have been interesting to see if his theory had held up with DNA evidence, although there is the counter-argument that, sort of frivolous exhumations of bodies isn't really the way to go. So, yeah, it's a difficult decision to be made there. I think ultimately the cemetery probably made the right one. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching this video.